Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we finally have the new patch notes. And I really hope that there's some good news in here for those of us who have found the game pretty stale lately, because if not, I don't know if I'm going to make it through another patch, guys. I'll be real honest. These past 5 weeks plus have been rough. But that being said, it's all about the patch notes. Y'all know the deal. It's going to be a little bit of a reading fest here, but you guys know that I read these so that you don't have to. And we're going to go over the patch notes in their entirety. The name of the patch, November Update, Under the Black Flag. Okay? Maintenance times for Xbox and PlayStation will be on November 7th from 2 to 6 a.m. Central Time. Update size for the Xbox One S and X will be 3,660 megabytes, which is 3.66 gigabytes. For the Xbox Series S and X, will be 2.8 gigabytes. For the PlayStation 4, it'll be 2.75 gigabytes. And for the PlayStation 5, it will be 471 megabytes. Interesting. Very small update for the PlayStation 5 folks. For the Apple folks out there, it'll be 1.1 gigabytes. And for the Android folks out there, it'll be 1.2 gigabytes. Gigabytes. So, with that being said, let's check out the actual update. November update, Under the Black Flag. It's time to set sail. It's time to sail the fall seas in a quest for battles and treasure. Let's check out what's coming in this seasonal update with a TLDR coming right up. For starters, Tier 8 reinforcements for the British and French Tech Tree ships. So we're getting more Tier 8s out there. Brewing Storm campaign with Japanese Tier 8 premium destroyer Hayate as a reward. I could be pronouncing that wrong. Y'all know that I am not very good at that, but I think it is Hayate. I could be wrong. Black Friday coming in hot with new black ships and a variety of deals. Yar! Pirate content. Legendary British destroyer Daring Bureau project. Now that is something I've been looking forward to. I'm not gonna lie, that's big. 4 one-on-one ranked seasons, so we get some ranked battles in duels fashion. So you know I like that. I do like me some duels. Nothing like sweaty 1v1s where you can't blame your teammates. And more, of course. So, let's keep going. Now, obviously, to obtain the update bonuses, which are 5 Shadow camos and 5 Hunter camos, to be precise, redeem the code RT20KMX541 at wowslegends.com/code-redeemer. There you go. Royal Navy and Marine Nationale expand to Tier 8. More Tier 8 ships are coming to your ports in this update, specifically British and French ones. A total of 6 vessels, 1 of each type, except carriers. Same as the first batch of Tier 8 ships, these will be available right away for captains with researched Tier 7 ships of the respective branches and sufficient XP on those. In fact, if you have 200,000 Elite XP on a Tier 7 ship, the respective newcomer will be unlocked automatically. Full upgrade from scratch will require 300,000 XP. So keep that in mind. So what do we have? The new ships for the British, the destroyer Jutland, the cruiser Neptune, and the battleship Temeraire? I apologize. I'm generally pretty good with English ships, but that sounds decidedly French. Temeraire. I apologize. That's the best I've got, guys. I'll be honest. I mean, maybe it's like further north, maybe Scottish name. I don't know. Y'all are going to have to let me know what that is. France, the destroyer Mogador, and cruiser Saint Louis, and the battleship Alsace, or Alsace. I'm not sure which. I want to say it's the Alsace. But you guys will have to let me know. Alsace sounds more Italian. You can look forward to more information on these newcomers in a dedicated article coming very soon. the Brewing Storm campaign for the premium Japanese destroyer Tier 8, the Hayate. Loosely reminiscent of a Shimakaze. Oh, joy. Japanese destroyer Hayate brings a large hit point pool, even better, and brutal torpedoes, who could have seen that coming, as well as quite a few gunboat characteristics. Great. So, what's its weakness exactly? So it's got ridiculous torpedoes, a large hit point pool, and the ability to absolutely terrorize things with guns. That sounds like a perfectly balanced ship to me. Can't wait to test it out. It's going to be great. She's quite a fire starter. Oh, great. You know what we needed in the game? We needed another torpedo spamming fire starter that you can't see. God darn it. You know, this is just me reacting to what I see. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be perfectly balanced as all things should be. And solid chances of ignition upon impact. Great. And her firing angles allow for great kiting if you've already unleashed your devastating torpedo load. It definitely lets us battleship mains feel safe and warm. You know, that's definitely what I get when I hear this. With the traditional framework of 100 milestones in 5 weeks and the catch-up mechanic in place, let's take a look at the prizes that await you along the way. As always, if you do not buy the Admiralty backing, you get this, which has a value of 15,187 doubloons. However, if you do decide to pay the 2,500 doubloons for the Admiralty backing, you will get all of the previously mentioned stuff, as well as all of this, for a combined total of 73,250 doubloons worth of stuff, including the new Japanese Tier 8 premium destroyer, Hayate, or Hayate. I apologize. I know, a lot of people get mad at me because I keep saying I apologize when I screw up everybody's name. I don't intentionally mispronounce things, okay? I just don't understand grammarly what that is supposed to be. Is it Hayate? Is it Hayate? I'm trying to channel my inner Japanese that I've watched a little bit over the years in anime and try to come up with something that sounds Japanese. So I do apologize. Again, you're welcome. This season, we've got the Black Friday stuff coming up now. Black Friday 2022. This season, Black Friday discounts will be available throughout the entire update, with additional deals dropping in the store at later dates. Most importantly, it will feature as many as 5 new black ships. Italian Tier 3 battleship Dante Alighieri B, complete with an alternative SAP shell module and available through a special mission, which is obtainable for credits. So now we're getting some Italian battleships with SAP modules, but the main line of cruisers still don't have them. Question mark. Japanese Tier 8 cruiser Ibuki B with improved accuracy. Okay. Didn't the Japanese cruisers already have great accuracy? Has anybody ever played I haven't played the Ibuki, so maybe the Ibuki is the one exception out of the entire Japanese cruiser line. But I have never gotten in a Japanese cruiser and gone, man, this thing's inaccurate as crap. No, don't they have the bonus? And again, I'm trying to go from memory, so if I'm wrong, y'all have to correct me. But don't the Japanese cruisers have the destroyer accuracy? Isn't that a thing? Am I wrong here? Isn't that supposed to be destroyer grouping or something? I could be wrong, but I thought that was the Japanese thing, other than just having ridiculous HE that causes all the fires, especially if you've got the Atago commander. But I digress. Italian Tier 5 premium cruiser Duca d'Aosta B, with no new bonus, apparently. Okay. German Tier 6 premium destroyer Z39B, with no new bonus, apparently. And the German Tier 7 premium battleship Bismarck B, with upgraded secondary battery, ATBA, range at the expense of main battery range. Huh? Okay, so the Bismarck is now a premium ship because it's black. Does that mean we're getting an Iowa Black next year with better accuracy? Maybe, huh? Give me 30-kilometer range on my Iowa with railgun accuracy? I don't know. I'm spitballing here. But ATBA, what is that supposed to mean? Can you at least like give us all the badass? Like, is that what we're talking about? Like ATBA? It's all the badass. Well, I have no idea. ATBA, all the badass. Range of at the expense of main battery range. So you're going to get longer range on your secondaries, which is something I don't think anybody has ever gone, you know what? The Bismarck just doesn't have enough range. Shooting out to 12.4 kilometers or whatever it is, you know, those secondaries are railguns as is. I definitely want them to be shooting out to like 14. You know, could you imagine Bismarck secondaries, as terrifying as they are at 12 kilometers, now imagine them firing out to like 14. Which is funny, because that's probably about what you would end up with your guns at that point. So you get to experience not being able to shoot anything with your main guns, but you get secondaries that are putting on a heck of a fireworks show. Maybe it doesn't say that they're any more accurate. It just says upgraded secondary battery range at the expense of main battery range. So you guys will have to let me know what you guys think about this. Is there Bismarck mains out there going, oh my god, this is exactly what I wanted? I would love to know. Stay tuned for a dedicated article that will offer a detailed look at all things Black Friday on our blog. Be sure to check it out, as 3 of the 5 ships have been tangibly changed in their new appearance. Ooh, interesting. Pirates on the horizon. Uh-oh. With 2 dedicated captains and their rovers under the British and French flags, and more content available, including a special chest, pirates are arriving on our high seas in force. Save the date, you scallywags. Starting from December 1st, you can exchange your shiny funds for captains and boats in the store. An article covering the content will come just in time, so get your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled? I'm fairly confident they want keep there, so keep your eyes peeled. Slight little oopsie. A little hint, these pirates prefer French ships, but they don't always fight for France. Anybody know any French ships that weren't actually French? Somebody's gonna get a French ship that's probably German. Just say it. Anyway. Ranked duels are back, which we already mentioned. We know you missed it. One-on-one ranked battles are making a comeback for as many as 4 seasons this update, so stay tuned for our blog post with all the details before the season gets underway, November 10th. And the Daring Bureau Project, for the love of God, please tell me that this is a normal Bureau project and doesn't require me to spend a gajillion doubloons or a gajillion freaking silver. That's all I ask. Be a regular Bureau project that's not hidden behind a paywall of one type or another. Please. Because you know that this is going to be a popular one. This is a very popular ship. It's one that everybody's been waiting on. I say everybody. A lot of people have been waiting for. And I'm highly, highly looking forward to it myself. So, please don't do it to me. Here we go. The largest class of British destroyers arrives at legendary tier. Daring's HE shells are particularly incendiary, and her torpedoes can be launched individually, which is not anything unusual considering it's British. Her sonar can be a lifesaver, and smoke generator will facilitate effective in-and-out tactics and provide much-needed emergency concealment. Be wary of her size, however, and watch out for... Gah! Does anybody, proofread this stuff? Be wary of her size, however, and watch out for incoming enemy aircraft. Don't say be watch out, okay? What is be watch out? What? Come on, folks. Proofread. Grammar. It's a thing. I know, I'm the last person but I'm not posting this stuff out in public. I'm not the one that's typing all this stuff up and putting out there for people. I just have to read it. So it's easy for me to criticize, even though I can't pronounce anything. So I get it. Right now, Wargaming is like, we can't do anything to make you happy, can we? We just can't. Wargaming is going to hear this and they're going to be like, we just can't make you happy. No matter what, you're going to complain. So I got you. This project requires you to possess British tech tree destroyers, Jervis and Lightning, to complete certain segments. Again, I love this part of the Bureau. Why do I love this part of the Bureau? Because it means that people actually have to progress through tech trees in order to get the legendary tier. That should have been in place from the beginning, because you shouldn't be able to unlock a Shimakaze or a Yami without actually owning any ships, just by waiting a year and a half for them to unlock, and not actually playing the game to the point where you understand the basics of gameplay by the time you get to the highest tier in the game. But at least they are making making efforts to correct this for future projects, including this one. The research project can be boosted either with research points or doubloons. Please note this project is not available in the mobile version. So sorry for those of you on mobile, this is not currently available for you guys. Doesn't mean it won't come eventually, but it is not currently available. Now the good news is that it doesn't say that it's behind a paywall. So that leads me to believe it is just a standard Bureau project that you can start research on the moment it drops in the game, which is what I think we all want. We don't want things to be hidden behind doubloon purchases or silver purchases, where you got to spend a gajillion silver to unlock a Bureau project and then spend 2.5 months and a gajillion gold to speed it up to try to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. I know, I've been ranting, but I'm glad that this isn't a paywall one. Because again, this is a very highly anticipated destroyer that's coming to the game that a lot of people have been looking forward to, including myself. So I'm glad to see it's not just locked behind a paywall blatantly like other projects have been recently. Not going to mention any names. Balance changes. This ought to be good. I cannot wait to see what the balance changes are. This update brings a solid number of changes, both buffs and nerfs, including some of the first changes to the Tier 8 tech tree ships, as they have been the center of attention since August. A handful of ship traits have also been changed to provide better clarity on the respective ships' abilities. We're starting to call secondary guns ATBA, anti-torpedo boat armament, in more places, so please get used to it. Well, that's funny because, you know what? I have never once actually had my secondaries, with the exception of maybe Flounder, Brandenburg, or Massachusetts, all of which have really good secondaries and accurate secondaries. I have never once had secondaries come through in the clutch on any other battleship. So, anti-torpedo boat armament. Okay, I like my name for it better, All the Badass. Like, I'm just saying, like, All the Badass. So, I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, so let's look at, just right off the top of my head, what are some of the ships that need balanced at Tier 8? Let's see. Musashi needs balanced at Tier 8. The American destroyer, God, what is it called? Sumner, right? Yeah, the Alan M. Sumner. The Sumner is literally, arguably, and I say arguably, it's basically, most people that are decent at the game would agree that the Sumner is actually better than the Gearing, which is the legendary tier version of it. So, I hope that it's in this list of getting nerfed. At least a little bit. I'm not saying make it trash. I'm just saying it needs a nerf. Okay, it's a little too strong if it's spicier than the legendary tier, which is even, never mind. All right, let's get right into it. No more speculation. Here we go. Japanese Tier 8 Ibuki is somewhat lacking in direct damage, so we're boosting it. Great. Main battery reload decreased from 13.7 to 13 seconds for the stock version. Main battery 180-degree turn time decreased from 30 to 25.7 seconds. So faster turret traverse, faster reload. The reload's not that much faster, so you're not really going to notice it probably. Torpedo launcher reload time decreased from 101 to 95 seconds. Again, not really that big a difference. And that's for the stock torpedoes, and then from 112 to 105 for the upgraded version. Japanese Tier 8 destroyer Yugamo is simply not far enough from Kagero. Hence, some basic damage improvements. Torpedo launcher reload for upgraded torpedoes reduced from 100 to 93 seconds. Hit points for stock hull increased from 13,900 to 14,200. For upgraded hull, 15,200 to 15,700. Yay. German Tier 8 cruiser Rune. We're fairly content with Rune, but she's a bit sluggish in close quarters, so a quicker traverse will improve her chances of tracking any destroyers that get close. Yeah. I honestly can't tell you the last time I saw a Rune kill a destroyer. Then again, I don't see very many runes anywhere. Probably because, let's be honest, there's really only one trick pony for German cruisers, at least the German heavy cruisers, and that is hope to God a battleship is dumb enough to get close to your island that you're hiding behind so that you can rush torp them and kill them. And that's pretty much it. At range, you get dev struck. At medium range, you get dev struck. At close range, that is your only hope, is, you know, that we don't get 2 shots against you. We only get the 1 before you kill us. That's pretty much it. But yeah, main battery, 180-degree turn time, decreased from 30 to 25.7 for stock version and from 30 to 20 seconds for upgraded version. Soviet Tier 8 destroyer Delny. Delny went above and beyond in what we expected her to do, hence a nerf is appropriate for her turret traverse and gun reload. However, to sweeten this bitter pill, we're improving the shell damage by a tad. The aim is to lower the average damage a pinch and get her to be a little less effective with multiple targets. Interesting. Maximum main battery HE shell damage increased from 1900 to 2050. Maximum AP shell damage increased from 2600 to 2850 for both for upgraded versions. Main battery reload time increased from 4 to 5 seconds for the upgraded version, and main battery 180-degree turn time increased from 9 to 13.8 seconds for a stock version, and from 9 to 12 seconds for the upgraded version. So, yeah, that's actually a pretty big nerf to a destroyer's guns. Like, if you think about things like Kaba, Tashkent, Delny, one of their sweet spots that they try to do is they try to play around at that medium to long range area. It's like 10 to 13 kilometers, and they like to swivel around and fire their guns and set fires. That's what they like to do. A lot of people like to use them as mini cruisers, as fire spammers rather than as gunboat destroyers who are anti-destroyer players. And this is going to hurt that quite a bit because, I mean, that's a significant nerf in terms of being able to turn your guns. You're going to be out-turning your guns at this point. Like, as you try to maneuver your ships to avoid shells, you're not going to be able to keep those guns on target at this rate, if I had to guess. That's just my guess. So, that's a significant nerf there. Even if they did give you a little bit more damage, that's pretty nasty. Soviet Tier 8 cruiser Dmitry Donskoy. Donskoy fell back further than Rune did, and is receiving significant buffs all around. This should aid her survivability and average damage, as well as her utility to the team. HP for upgraded hull increased from 43,400 to 47,400. Radar consumable duration increased from 20 to 25 seconds. So this thing has the long-range radar, right? And it's going to have a 25-second... Didn't we just come around to the fact that the Des Moines, a legendary cruiser, had its radar nerfed in duration? Am I wrong? Like, I know the radar duration was like 40 seconds, but it just seems like they're making, without changing the range of the radar, these are now on point with like the radar duration of an American destroyer or American cruiser. So you're getting basically a 30-second duration with having railguns from the Russians in terms of being able to hit the targets, so you're much more likely to hit destroyers to begin with. You've got decent reload, which we'll talk about probably, because I do have the Dmitry, I believe. That's one of the few Tier 8s that I actually unlocked. So there's that. But yeah, this seems like a stretch to give it a 25-second radar if it's going to continue its long-range Russian, radar. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Sonar consume. I'm just looking at this from a destroyer. Don't get me wrong. As battleship captain, I don't care. Put as many freaking radars out there as you want. Give them 50-second freaking radars for all I care. Give them 30-kilometer range in 50 seconds so we can get all of those destroyers off the board. That would make my day as a battleship captain, man. But I'm just saying, like, it seems a little bit spicy to increase a Russian cruiser's radar to 25 seconds. Like, that's an extra shot, or close to it. Sonar consumable stats changed. The duration from 96 to 98 seconds, so not really big a change there. Torpedo detectability from 3.1 to 3.3, again, not a big change. Ship detection increased from 4.4 to 4.7. That's a slightly bigger change, and that is kind of putting you in range of... When I think of sonars and potentially spotting us, with the exception of the Germans, I think of pretty much like everybody being around 4.5 kilometers or less, you know, in ship detection. So a lot of times as a destroyer or as even as a battleship, I will try to stay outside that range as I approach an island until that way they can't run away from me or set up an ambush, that sort of thing. So that having a 4.7 kilometer could actually be a significant oopsie for destroyer players especially, but for even people like cruisers or battleships that are trying to come around the corner on them. The French Tier 7 battleship Champagne is getting some interesting love. The guns have always been fantastic on Champagne, for reals. Railguns, capable of citadeling battleships, even Yamato at significant ranges if you give it a broadside. However, she's always been squishy. She's been a bit of a glass cannon forever. Champagne found herself lagging behind a few of her peers and proved to be a less popular choice among the French battleships, because Jean Bart and Richelieu were just tankier. You get all your firepower at the front without having to put yourself in crazy positions to get absolutely wrecked. Whereas Champagne's gun configuration means you're giving up broadside quite a bit, and unless you are paying attention to where rounds are coming from and not angling, like, you're going to get blapped. But anyway, what we hope to accomplish is to improve her average damage by increasing her survivability and to give her a better kit when fighting other battleships head-on. However, situations where HE shells will be an effective choice are still going to be rare, which is understandable. Will Champagne follow Vanguard in number of buffs? Probably not, but let's see. We'll see. That's a hard pill to follow. If you're trying to see between Vanguard and the buff, we got the buff guard and the buff mark. Like, you're gonna be struggling to keep up with those buffs. Like, they got buffed literally every update for like 2 years. So we'll see. But her hit points were increased from 52,600 to 57,100. Maximum HE shell damage increased from 6,100 to 6,700. So not a big change here. A little bit more hit points. Actually, quite a bit more hit points. That's another 5,000 hit points almost. And then the HE shell damage really is that, who's shooting HE out of a Champagne? Let's be real here. Almost never. Like, if you're shooting HE out of most battleships, you're doing it wrong. With the exceptions being the obvious in terms of the British battleships like Conqueror, Vanguard, King George, that sort of thing. Those guys are known for HE, and their HE absolutely smashes, and arguably is better than their AP more often than not. But anyway, Graf Zeppelin being on here, I'm scared here, because this is going to be a buff, because everybody knows the Zeppelin isn't as good as the Parseval, so I'm assuming this is going to be a buff. Well, you knew it. She needs a buff, no matter how you look at it, as there are several areas in which she's lacking, especially compared against August von Parseval. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't say she's the strongest, because I honestly believe that the Pobeda is stronger than the Parseval in the right hands. But Parseval is definitely the easier of the two carriers to play between, you know, Parseval and Pobeda. So Parseval is the easy mode carrier, whereas Pobeda has the higher skill ceiling. Well, this is now going to start buffing it to be on par with the Parseval, which is literally saying, okay, we're going to take this premium carrier and buff it to where it rivals one of the strongest carriers in the game. Great. That won't end poorly for anybody. Torpedo damage increased from 5,933 to 7,800. That's a significant increase. Torpedo speed increased from 45 to 48 knots. That's a little less of an increase. Torpedoes now arm quicker. That's actually a pretty big increase because it's a half a second quicker. And ATBA range, which is secondaries, increased from 5 to 5.5 kilometers. So, still, the whole reason anybody cares about the Zeppelin in the first place is the secondaries on PC. It's a meme ship. It was never meant to be a solid contender every time you take the ship out. It was a meme ship. You get a buddy in an American destroyer, he sails in front of you, he drops you a smoke screen, you sit in your smoke screen and you let the secondaries DACA away, and then you fly your planes around and do a little bit of damage. That's what the Graf Zeppelin is all about. And the fact that it comes to console with the absolutely, like, just completely trashed secondaries is a laugh to me. Like, why is it that some ships are nerfed so heavily from what everybody expects of them? Like, we knew the Zeppelin coming in. We're like, everybody, the only reason anybody cares about the Zeppelin is because of the meme factor. That's the only reason anybody cares about the Zeppelin. Let's be honest. That's it. It's the meme factor. The secondaries, having fun. But, no, we're not allowed to have fun. Not allowed to have fun. That would be crazy. Who wants memes in World of Warships Legends? We gotta have every game be super sweaty. You gotta be on point all the time, or you die to torpedo boats that you can't see from 5 kilometers. And, yeah, all the things. Again, rant. Her hangar now holds 15 planes instead of 14. Huge difference there. That extra plane's going to make all the difference. And I'm sure somebody out there is going to do the math and be like, well, actually, Spartan, that extra plane is going to be... I get it. I'm being facetious. Planes have been made more maneuverable. Okay. None of the changes are necessarily dramatic, but we believe that as a package, they should work and make your Zeppelin experience much more fun. You want fun wargaming? Give these things a base range of 7.5 kilometers. Seriously, I'm not joking. Give the secondary range a base range of 7.5 kilometers, right there in line with Massachusetts, a little less than the Bismarck, and let people DACA with the secondaries. If this is actually what if this is what you want, wargaming, please. I'm not saying this as a jerk move or anything like this, but by your own words, they should work and make your Zeppelin experience much more fun. If fun is what you want, then give the Zeppelin what it's supposed to have, which is those ridiculous secondaries. The bane of every destroyer's existence. I mean, for real. So, that's just my opinion on the matter. But I know I'm not alone. You guys can let us know down in the comments below as well. Like, Graf Zeppelin, the whole point of it was the secondaries. It's a meme ship. It's supposed to have secondaries that are fun. I agree that it's supposed to be a fun ship. Doesn't mean you gotta go out and put up 200,000 damage by dropping armor-piercing bombs and torpedoes. Some ships are just more fun for other reasons. It's like why people go out and go in like triple Bismarck divisions where they can't shoot anything with their main guns, but their secondaries are just constantly blaring away. That's the kind of stuff that, that we are missing. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the fact that they're making some ships more competitive and stuff like that, but sometimes the fun factor just gets lost in Legends. It just does. Just a thought. Modernization changes. We've been looking at the popularity and usability of our modernizations lately, and this is the first take. Main Battery Mod 2 was severely lacking, so to make it more attractive, we've removed the trade-off and buffed the Traverse. Main Battery 180-degree turn time bonus increase from 15 to 20%. Main Battery reload time debuff is removed. That's actually huge. Like, that's legitimately huge. Gunfire Control System Mod 2 is receiving a substantial buff as well. Main battery range increased from 5 to 10%. Okay? I don't know that many people that are going to be using range, I'll be honest. That's just my opinion. These changes are being brought in to increase the build variability and offset the cookie cutter builds a little bit. Like, I agree, there are a lot of cookie cutter builds, but that's because, it's not because of these particular perks underperforming. It's just that people buff the things that are going to make the biggest difference. buffing the range in World of Warships Legends isn't really doing anything because, let's be honest, you're not effective out to 19 kilometers and beyond. Trust me, I was an Iowa main that used to have my guns go out to 21.2 kilometers back in the day. And I know the Scharnhorst can shoot even further than that, I think, which is ridiculous for its own reasons. Even though I think Scharnhorst at least has the, one of the longest ship-to-ship hits in history, I think, if I remember correctly. That and Warspite. I think they tied at like 13 kilometers. Anyway. But I don't think this is it. I honestly, and I'm not trying to like degrade this or anything. Like I'm glad to see some of these things getting buffs and stuff to try to increase the variance between builds from people. But honestly, I don't think this is it. I think there needs to be reworks in terms of like legendary skills, making certain legendary skills less viable while making other ones more viable, so that you have a little bit more variance there. Will to Rebuild comes to mind. Equilibrium of Power or Refill Station comes to mind. You know, those ones that everybody uses because, let's be honest, running with scissors is pretty much crap outside of everything in terms of one-on-one duels or something like that in ranked. Like, it's just not a good trait to have most of the time. But again, I'm not trying to beat this down for no reason. I think this is a step towards the right direction. I think there needs to be some other things changed as well. All right, so adjusted ship traits. American Tier 8 Battleship main, tough changed to superior AP damage. You're just changing text, Wargaming. Like, do you really need to... Does this affect anything? No, it's literally just text, guys. So don't look at this and go, oh my god, they're changing it. No, they're not. They're just changing text. Japanese Tier 8 Battleship Izumo fast changed to superior AP pen. German Tier 8 Battleship Frederick de Grosse ironclad changed to secondary reach. Mobile improvements, Google login, Android players rejoice your Google account can now be used for identification purposes, and you can also bind it to your console account in the same way as you did with Facebook. Okay? Ship filter. We've certainly felt the pain of veteran players with huge fleets in their ports, and we agree that filtering specific ships is of paramount importance. To favorite a ship, you will need to enter the upgrade sections, hit the ship icon, and add or remove it there. This is the solution we're using for now, but we may improve it later. And we have some bug fixes. Rare instances of game crashing in the campaign interface. Hitbox on one of the islands on Tears of the Desert map was taller than the model suggested. No. This stuff doesn't happen. Additionally, some of how about the hitboxes on the islands being wider than they're supposed to be? Like when you're like, oh, I can go around this island, and then you get stuck, and then you get obliterated because of it. Because we don't have depth under keel gauges. Additionally, some of the buildings let shells pass through them. Both instances have been fixed. One of the reefs on the Solomon Islands stopped many a ship, and this will no longer occur. Thank God! We just mentioned that. Like, this never happens, right? I was finally glad to see some of this stuff being fixed, but again, this is one particular map, and I'm fairly confident you can go around to each of the maps and probably find that there are several islands that try to screw you over. The description of the Burn Baby Burn skill now correctly mentions the increase in fire chances for aircraft carriers, secondary batteries, aka all the badass. I'm not going to call it anti-torp boat. I'm just not. It's just all the badass. Richelieu's torpedo bulge is now correctly visible in the armor viewer. Interesting. Paolo Emilio had an incorrect camo in the store preview window. Okay. Mobile fixed overlapping text on battle results. Okay. Others. Port selection. Woohoo! It's here. No more will we ever get stuck with Nagasaki's pink overhue. Like, don't get me wrong. It's fun for a couple of days, but 5 weeks of pink, like, and it's not that it's pink. Like, y'all know, I don't mind pink. Pink isn't that bad for me. But what I do mind is the haze that comes with the map. Like like it's blurry when you're looking at it. And when you're trying to do like screenshots for videos especially, like it makes your ships look like crap. So I'm glad to see that we will be able to go to port in the settings menu, and we will be able to do this. However, you can look forward to the arrival of more ports in the not so different future, or not so distant future. So apparently this is the ones that we start with, which is Marseille, or Marseille. Is it Marseille? I think it's Marseille. Somebody's going to freaking murder me over this. Nagasaki, obviously. Fjords, Ocean, and Hamburg. Where's New York? Not so distant future. So probably this time next year, if I had to guess. We're offering you 5 ports for starters, complete with their own music. Again, I don't hate this. I'm glad to see that we're able to switch between the things rather than being stuck with a single port throughout the entirety of an update. So, thank you. We're offering you 5... And again, this is a feature that's been a part of World of Warships PC for God knows how long. Like, legitimately years. So I'm glad that we're finally getting this feature on Legends. But Fjords, Nagasaki, Marseille, that's the best. I'm fairly confident it's Marseille. Ocean, Hamburg. Dust those proverbial cameras and choose the perfect lighting for your favorite ships. Thank you. I did mention that. Rudder position while in the quick commands menu. Oh, this is something you've requested for ages, and we're finally ready to deliver. From this update on, your rudder will hold whenever you're switched to the quick commands pizza. Please note that this is only true for ships and will not work for planes. Also keep in mind that since we don't have fine adjustments of the rudder, even if you turn only slightly and call up the quick commands, your turn will progress to 100%. So here's my question, and I'll have to test this when we get to the update. Is this still going, like, it's allowing us to continue turning while in a menu or whatever, but is it going to, and that's just quick commands. That doesn't say like the map menu or anything like that. That's just the quick commands menu. So keep that in mind. But does that mean that your controller input stays working when you come out of the quick command menu? Or does it still have to be reset? You just have your rudder continuing while you're in the menu. So that's something I'll have to look at. TAA on Xbox One and One S. Temporal anti-aliasing is now available or enabled for the Xbox One and One S consoles in battle. Other consoles previously had this enabled. This provides more stable picture quality and smoother geometry edges for objects. Okay. Admiralty backing interface improvement. Campaigns can now be bought out with a single action inside the Admiralty backing window, even after having purchased the Admiralty backing. Make this season count and turn the tide. Okay. So, let me know what you guys think. There's a lot that I was hoping was in this that isn't, but there is a lot coming. So, there's at least some goods to go with this. I know I've been very facetious and maybe a little bit sarcastic at times during this, but at least there is some quality and quantity in this. As well as some of the old bugs that have been around for God knows ever that are starting to get some quality of life improvements. So there's a lot to look forward to, and I really do want to know what you guys' thoughts on this is. Are we heading in the right direction? Are we going to end the year with a bang? Remember, we only got one more update between now and the end of the year. This update and one more. That's it. So there's a lot of big things coming in the last update of the year, supposedly. So can we end the year with a bang? And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.